What are as some of the final thoughts? What should we be anticipating will change in the workplace?
So your culture will change a little bit because the world has changed. So I think you want to be prepared for anxious employees. I mean, let's face it, everybody's anxious right now. And so that's going to spill over into the workplace. So anticipate, how might my employees react to these changes that we have to put in place? How are they going to react when they look at coworkers and coworkers are wearing masks? What does that prevent?
Yeah.
There's going to be some intercommunication training that you're going to have to do just so
Yeah.
that.
I have to say that that before we were going live on this interview, you had mentioned that, and the mental image of our staff at Axial coming back with masks was a little bit mind blowing to me.
It is, because you can't see your reaction. So it does put a barrier
Right.
when you can't read. And you want to be mindful of that, but you also want to think about, how are you going to address allergy seasons? Right now, the allergies where I live are high. So I'm taking allergy medicine like crazy. How are my coworkers going to react if I'm sneezing? And again, reinforcing your hygiene policies. So it's not the same as it was before. And you need to make sure that you've got good coaching around that and you anticipate that. And on the last call, we talked about, how do you rely on your EAPs? I think that's critical. I think that you as an HR person have to have that coach around emotional issues and anxiety issues. So leverage that. Get on the phone with your EAP provider and say, talk me through this situation. It is a new way that you have to operate. But I think that what you need to do is to be very cautious, protect your business, protect your employees, and above all, communicate and document everything that you're doing so that you can then explain. Be prepared for that employee who says, hey, how come Mick's coming back and I don't have to come back? You need to be able to talk about your plan.
Right. What about, I mean, some of the things that you expanded on before we were live was, talk to me a little bit about what you think might come out of this with some potential ADA issues.
So what I predict is going to happen in the future is we're going to start learning we're going to see some ADA challenges around accommodations, telecommuting may surface. I think some of those issues, we just need to be mindful. And when we talked last time, we talked about writing policies. So now is a really good time for you to evaluate what is essential within your job descriptions. We have essential workers, but we also have those essential functions. Now is a good time to think about that, because we're going through a test. If you've had remote workers and that has worked or it hasn't worked, it's a good time to reflect on that and say, what worked, what didn't work, what was our risk, how did that impact the business or our customers? Ask yourself those questions. And if you're like me, you have a lot of things on your plate, so you're thinking, I don't have time to do that, but at least start putting that somewhere so you start thinking about it. That's sort of in the future, but you've just gone through a really great pilot, let's say. And it's a good time to see what worked and didn't. And as you plan for the future, this is not the first pandemic we've been faced with. It's the most severe that we've been faced with in my career. But this isn't the first time we've had this. So it's a good time to go back and look at your pandemic plan and say what worked and what didn't.
Right.
Especially if this turns back.
So, yeah, Lori, how about, any final thoughts on any of this, any advice, sort of bigger picture, come back, don't come back, whatever you sort of like think about from a big picture standpoint as the last thoughts.
So I think do that analysis and think, how is this going to impact my employees and my business? And in my opinion, I think being conservative, if it's not disrupting your business and you can be conservative, think that way.
Continue on, right? Continue on.
You're easing back in. Rushing back in and finding that you're ill prepared, I think it's going to have a more damaging effect.
Right. Just because the governor's saying, get back to work, open up the economy, doesn't necessarily mean that it's right for your business.
Exactly.
Right.
You have to look at your business through a very filtered lens that says, how is this impacting the business and my employees? And what is my risk? What's my risk if I rush everybody back? What's my risk if I ease them back?
Thank you so much, Lori. This has been really great. Lots to think about. Even more importantly, gets me going that, there's a lot to do. We'll make sure, just as we did in the, in the prior session, to make sure we share your contact at the end of this segment. And everyone keep, an eye out for other updates. As a regular part of this series, we'll have Lori back again to expand on some of this as we sort of get back to the now normal, I guess, or the post-COVID workforce. So really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Everyone stay safe, everyone stay healthy, and keep your eye out for more updates. So thank you very much.